So they do that with that. They do it like with the road systems. If you notice in Washington, there's lots of pentangles in the streets, and this is a city where a lot of bad laws are made, a lot of decisions to go and bomb other countries and do lots of negative stuff are all made in these areas, and so that channels energy. Just the Pentagon. The Pentagon is the inside of a pentagram. It's the place, the building of war, where they find, discuss basically war is all they discuss in the Pentagon. So that's really good reason why that's shaped that way. The Capitol building with the dome, the octagonal 8 pillars on top with the statue, that's all designed to channel energy. All these buildings are designed that way. They do it with intersecting planes. You'll find a lot of buildings. They do it through pyramids. They do it through domes. They do it through pentagrams and stars, all sorts of stuff. And even with the soldiers, like, people should honestly boycott the military. Every soldier should just boycott it, absolutely, because no wars are fought for any good reason. They're all fought for corporate gain, and they're all about blood sacrifice. That's what it's all about. And some of these rituals that they do are massive, massive rituals on a global scale, which is what most wars are. And you'll find that most leaders are related to this one bloodline that I keep coming back to, or they're involved in the Illuminati in some way. And you'll notice that all the soldiers from all countries have things like oak leaves on their shirts. They have 5-pointed stars, they have oak leaves, they have red ribbons, they have eagles and skull and crossbones, and all these sorts of things on their military uniforms. And you wonder why every country has these oak leaves and 5-pointed stars and red ribbons. If we're all in different countries, you think we'd have different military insignia. But we don't, because these are all occult talismans. And if a person is marked in a certain way and sent to a certain place at a certain date, then they become a sacrifice. That's what it's all about. And the Gulf War is a perfect example. The shock and awe, the bombing campaign, it actually started on a night of Druidic ritual, who I can't remember the name of the night, and it finished on Walpurgis night, which is the night of the end of the ritual. And to know that the Egyptian bloodline that controls this whole thing that I talked about in my film, that goes right back to Egypt, Queen Elizabeth is a part of this line, so is George Bush. This whole thing, just to prove it, I mean, they're so blatant, these people. That whole campaign, it was called Shock and Awe. Shock and Awe is an ancient Egyptian sun goddess of sacrifice. They called the campaign Shock and Awe. Hidden in plain sight. It's always hidden in plain sight, because you've got to tell your victim that you're conducting a ritual. You've got to tell them that they're a victim. That's why the Georgia Guidestones are there. They're telling you, we want to reduce the world to 500 million, and we're going to. Here's the Guidestones. This is our Guidestones. This is what we want. Everyone says, oh, that's interesting looking, isn't it? I wonder why they've got that figure there. But no one does anything about it, because
that's right. And I think, Max, they're taking that lack of resistance as compliance.
Well, they are. That's the thing. Nobody's saying anything against it, so people are complying by their not standing against it, not questioning it. That's compliance, absolutely. That's absolutely what it's all about. And they've got to tell people they're doing this, and otherwise it doesn't work. That's the way ritual works. That's the way they channel the energy. And these people are so asleep because of, like I was saying about fluoride before, that's even part of it as well, because they feed people fluoride in the water. It keeps you in a docile, quite almost catatonic state. Even though these people seem quite active, the brain's just not working. It takes a lot of brain function away from people. Plus, because it's a byproduct of aluminium production, it's the mineral properties of it have certain electromagnetic properties. So they put up these huge mobile phone towers. They spray the air with chemtrails. Barium and aluminium are two big parts of chemtrails. And you've got this aluminium byproduct in your body. And it's all this big electromagnetic thing that they're doing, and people don't realise the state that they're in and how asleep they actually are. And that's why it's so hard to wake some of these people up, because they are literally asleep. They are literally chemically and electromagnetically hypnotised. And it's very, very careful and very methodical the way they've done this. So that's why the best way to do it is by channeling this love energy I keep talking about. If you can actually channel this energy to people, and you can help them wake up. And that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, and I want to get to that after the break. But I noticed you in a previous show mentioned that that fluoride was also in rat poison, and it's amazing. It's just so blatant that it's hard to believe that we aren't taking responsibility for this and waking up, but some of us are. When we get back, we'll talk about exactly how to take this thing back.
This is the GCN Radio Network, home to hard-hitting talk radio. Now,
Max, I've got a great question here from a listener, Jeannie. She says, the event in 2012, is this an individual or a collective consciousness and frequency? And I guess the way I'm looking at that question is, do we have to have 144,000 people to get this, or millions, or can we absolutely do it on our own individually?
Well, I don't know, John. I'd like to think we can do it on our own. I really do. But being that it's a singularity of consciousness, one has to wonder. But at the same time, I think that it's an inevitable event. I don't think that there's going to be any way that anyone is going to prevent this happening. I really don't. I've got my own reasons for saying that, which I won't go into right now because I don't want you to think I'm completely crazy. But when I know a little bit more about it, I'll be happy to address that. But I really think it's going to happen. I don't think that there's anything they can do to prevent it, no matter what they do. I think they're trying so hard to prevent this consciousness from rising, but I think it's inevitable. And I think that we will have a minimum of that many people that are at least awake. I think we'll probably have a lot more. And the more of us wake up, the more of us win this battle within, which is what it is. It's a battle within. There's no reason you really even have to wake up other people. You just have to wake yourself up, because once you wake up, you can channel this energy, and that wakes other people up around you because of the way our auras and energy fields interact. It's about recharging the energy pool that everyone else draws from in a positive way.
And let me jump in and pick a fight with the staunch Christian community, because I think they have dropped the ball here, just as this Patriot community has dropped the ball. We have been asleep at the watchtower, and look at the mess we find ourselves in. We have to take responsibility for this before we go forward. We're all responsible for our own soul. We have to keep from laying that on other people, whether it's the man at the local pulpit, or a politician, maybe a TV evangelist, or our parents. We are responsible for our own self, and it really is, to me, a fight of our soul. But when this event happens, I can see where they're trying to counter this now, as you discuss how this works on energy. I can see where they're going to try to bring in a global war, a World War III situation, to create fear, because it's a battle. What you're saying is, it's a battle between fear and love, and we need to energize ourselves and everything around us with love, and that's how we win this. Am I understanding that right?
Oh, very, very much so, John, very much. These people are acting on a very, very bad energetic state, and they use sacrifice to do it. You've really got to put the sacrifice in there as well. They're not only to generate fear amongst us, fear amongst the people that they're terrorizing over there, because war is terrorism. War is terrorism, and that's what it is. If you're on the receiving end of it, it is terrorism, the worst kind. And they are using this as blood sacrifice. That's why everyone has the occult symbols, and they do it in certain dates in certain areas. And all of these some of the most powerful spots on Earth are in the Middle East, which is why the Middle East has been kept a war zone, because this is where all the sacrificial rituals go on. These really are rituals. People need to understand this. Same as 9/11. 9/11 was a mass ritual sacrifice, and the amount of energy that they generated from that, because it was live on television, the whole world saw it, and everyone was in horror for what was happening, of course. And we all, myself included, we all generated a huge, massive amount of negative energy that day. And that's what it's all about. It's all about blood ritual. The closer we get, the more they escalate these wars, because they're really, really trying to keep this down, praying to whatever it is they pray to, this dark side that they have to use this sacrifice for. And it's very, very sinister what they're doing. And you look at the dates they do it on, and it's very, very sinister.
Yes, I recall in the Bible, Max, Christ being questioned by one of his apostles about the end times and about evil in itself, and he responded by saying, "Do not acknowledge it." And, you know, that makes a lot of sense. Of course, we have to be aware of it, but if we get caught up in it, then we actually feed it and give it life. And that's why I've been preaching for the last 4 months on the radio, on other networks, and now on this one, for people to stop studying the New World Order to death. They are feeding into it, and it's so complex, so deep, that it's easy to get lost. We need to be aware of it, but now we need to switch and carry our shield of love and well, unconditional love. Is that? Am I out on a limb there?